Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I just completed reading chapter 21, which is a pretty short chapter in Power of the Magdalene, and that also completed part 5. So in today's video, we start part 6, and that is chapter 22. And here we go. So chapter 22, or part 6, is titled Past Life in Translation. And we have just a little quote here that is from chapter 1. Working with past lives continued, including one session in German, thanks to a brilliant translator. And this was from chapter 1, The Story Begins. Chapter 22, Channels of Light and the Temple of Isis, which we've talked a little bit about both of these. In August 2006, we ventured into entirely new territory by experimenting with a past life session in German. Joanna writes, I had never done a multilingual past life session up to that point, but I was game to have a try. It was not easy, but the session turned out well. Isabel Zaplana proved to be a tireless and very able translator, and her involvement was the vital factor which turned the session into a real success. During this session, we focus on Michael Schaefer's sister, Dr. Ingrid Brechtel, who lives in Weinheim, Germany. Ingrid replied to my questions in German with the translation into English by Isabel. Having established a connection with the life at the time of Jeshua, this is how the session unfolded. All right, so we start out with Ingrid. A picture of Jeshua. I am standing in front of it, and there are geometric shapes on it. The geometric shapes are connected with a ball of light, and this is light with a lowercase l. It is like an energy field which is forming around us with colors. There are crystals. Behind Jeshua, there are the crystals, and there is information from the crystals that is going into the communication. Joanna, is any of that information to be shared at this time? There was a pause, and I sensed a feeling of sadness. This is coming from Joanna. Joanna, do you have a sadness at this moment? Ingrid, yes, there is a tension which is blocking this information. I feel a tension in the throat. Yes. Now the tension is relaxing, and now it's very light, white and bright. Everything is all right. It's fine. Joanna, if there is some emotion to release, then let it go, because the story can then come through more clearly. Ingrid, this information is coming back because we know what's going to happen. We know the major part was planned. Joanna, is there anything that you would like to say to Jeshua? Ingrid, I hold this structure which you have given to me. Joanna, are you happy that you have this structure? Ingrid says yes. Joanna, and it remains with you for all time? Ingrid, yes. And then she gives a deep sigh. Joanna, are there more things that you want to say to Jeshua? Ingrid, there's a very strong connection with him. It's here very profoundly, this energy. It is being activated now. At this point, we all felt the presence of a huge energy in the room. Joanna, were other people given this information? Ingrid, no. People received this energy, but it was not activated then. Joanna, and you are one of the people who can help to activate this in others? Ingrid says yes. Joanna, is this one of the jobs you have come in to do? Ingrid says yes. Joanna, would you like to tell us anything about this? Ingrid, yes, I had to hold back during my training at the Temple of Isis, where the activation of the crystals occurred. From there, it leads immediately to a point of light, capital L, which was very far away, and there is another connection, and it is very powerful. This connection, the crystal and the structure when it is activated, works on the blockage in the head and starts to release it. The dissolving of this blockage releases a great amount of energy. I can see it now. Now I can see Jeshua's face clearly. We were not able to say very much before. Joanna, did your training involve energetic exchanges and telepathy? Joanna or Ingrid says yes. Joanna, is it difficult work to do? Ingrid, yes. There are only a few beings who could go through this training. Joanna, what was the purpose of this training? Ingrid, a strong connection to the center of the earth, to hold a light channel open so that this channel could bring energy and information to the earth. Joanna, was there a connection too with the people under the surface of the earth? And indeed, there were beings. And if you want to learn more about that, I read a really great book called Earth Birth Changes, channeled by Azina Ramada, I believe that was her name, or Azuna Ramada. I can't remember exactly, but she was channeling Saint Germain. And one of the very few channelers that can do so, and by I mean a few channelers, there's only a few channelers really in this world who can completely let go of their ego and receive the information exactly as it's given, whether she understands it or not. With a lot of channelers, you're limited with your vocabulary, with your understanding, with your own ego and bias. It's very hard to let go of all those things. So you see all these channelers on social media and YouTube. You really have to practice discernment and really think on what you're hearing, because even though there's the best of intentions, you do not know where their level of channeling is. But again, there's only very few people that can really truly channel 100%. And she says, yes, there was a connection too with the people under the surface of the earth. There was the link between the people and the crystals. And all these crystals are beings, and they are working with light and love. They also talk about that in Earth's Birth Changes, that we should not be messing, especially with crystals on certain ley lines. They are being removed. It does hurt Mother Earth. It does cause her physical pain, and that we really do not need a crystal in our hand or in front of us to receive the benefits of it. All you really need to do is hold a picture of that crystal in your mind, and that's all you need. Once I learned that, I stopped collecting crystals. I won't buy them anymore. I don't ask for them as gifts anymore. They're beautiful, but I don't want to add anything to hurt the planet. She already has so much abuse towards her, and going in and doing that, especially around certain ley lines on the planet, it does hurt her. It's a part of her. That's just my personal opinion. Whatever you do, that's totally up to you. But once I learned that, if I knew I could avoid something, I will do my best to do that. Joanna, and this was bringing the light into the earth because the earth had become very dark. And so she's saying, and Ingrid says, and this work might also have avoided the need for the crucifixion. The darkness was the cause of the blockage here, pointing to the third eye. Joanna, so this energy was needed to bring light and love to the planet and also to support Jeshua and Mary? Ingrid says yes. Joanna, did it come to the people close to them and then spread out? And Ingrid says yes. Joanna, Jeshua and Mary held the central focus of the light, but was the light also fed to them so they could stay strong? Light with a capital L again. Ingrid said exactly. Our group in the Temple of Isis was helping in this work. They were preparing for some time before. Joanna, and then you taught the new young ones coming in? Ingrid says yes. We were not there physically at the crucifixion. Joanna, so had you gone to another dimension? And Ingrid says yes. Joanna, were you also working with the priestesses in the Temple of Isis before you entered the other dimension? Ingrid, we had this channel, this means of communication, which was clear and everything was put through it. Comment by Stuart. Okay, this passage is interesting because what we're seeing here is a support structure for the process of working with the combined energies of light and love, which was so central to the mission of Jeshua and Mary Magdalene. Although these two spiritual partners held the main focus for this operation, the Isis sisterhood was clearly providing subtle power connections, which made the whole project possible. Hence, although Jeshua and Mary Magdalene remain the undoubted leaders of this team, the highly trained and skilled work of others also made a significant contribution. The session continues. Looking down from the other dimension, what do you feel was happening on the earth at that time? Ingrid, there were many light channels that were built and held open, but there was very great stress and irritation on the planet and in the people. And again, that's capital L with light. Joanna, before the crucifixion? Ingrid, yes. There were also beings who should not have been here, and they were interfering. Joanna, beings from the heavens? Ingrid, yes. When this energy is activated and fully dispersed throughout the earth, these beings will not be able to interfere. Joanna, from your perception looking down, what was the crucifixion of Jeshua all about? Ingrid, like opening a new channel of communication with a strong violet color to it, and a channel to other dimensions, to other shapes, to other elements and materials, yes. But Jeshua didn't die on the cross. Joanna, because he had other work to do? Ingrid says yes. Was it more like a spiritual initiation for him? Joanna asks, and Ingrid says yes. Joanna, so after the crucifixion, was your work over? Ingrid says no. Joanna, did you work to help bring the energy of love down to the planet? Ingrid says yes. Joanna, and by seeing these geometric shapes, is this opening us to the new world that is to come? Ingrid, these structures are already there in the earth, but not physically present upon the earth. Joanna, though everyone has been affected by them, can only a few people see them? Ingrid said, it's all ready for the new world. All right. Stuart, geometrics triggering off new states of consciousness, he's asking, and Ingrid said, it's only the beginning. These new structures of the new consciousness are still very thin, a thin coating over the earth. Through the channels of light that are here, they are building up, light with a capital L again. Joanna, as we help other people to increase their consciousness, does that strengthen these structures? Ingrid says yes. There are also channels from other universes that are bringing light to strengthen these structures. Capital L, light. And the reason I emphasize that is because in an earlier chapter, they told us basically the difference between light with a capital L and light lowercase. Light is the ultimate light, divine light from the way, from Jeshua's teachings, whereas light with a lowercase L, we're just talking about light in general. Joanna, so are the energy vortexes that come from the heavens working with the energies from the earth? Ingrid says yes. Joanna, are some of these energy points interdimensional portals? Ingrid, yes. And they help more children, more beings to come into the earth. Stuart, and the new children will be able to work with these structures? Ingrid says yes. The new children will have a very different structure physically, a different geometry. The new children anchor the energy here. I often wonder if that's why there are so many children now that are being born with autism. I know there's a lot of talk about things that have caused autism, whether it's vaccines, whether it's taking certain medications when you're pregnant, whether it's genetic. There are many arguments against these things. But I wonder if these people that are born autistic are being born this way because they are special. And autistic people are some of the most people that are autistic and have Down syndrome are some of the most loving and pure human beings on the planet. They literally just love. Their brains think differently. It's easier for them to stay in a childlike state of mind. And it's looked down upon by many. It's looked at as a disability because they can't function in the world that we've created. Today, a lot of times they cannot function independently. They don't fit in with the adults. They don't fit in with the children. Depending on how far they are on the spectrum, they may not be able to live alone independently. But that is because of the way that our culture, specifically in America, has been set up. People don't live with their parents once they get married and have children, or when they're adults. It's looked down upon if you do, like you're a loser or something like that. But in other cultures, you stay in your family home. It's multi-generational and it's just a normal part of life. And family helps raise raise each other's family. They take care of their elders. They all help take care of their children. And in turn, if they have somebody who has autism or Down syndrome or any kind of disability or physical handicap or mental, they are cared for by their family. That is the original way that the structure should be. But it's been broken down and looked down upon in certain countries. Mine is one of them. Okay, and now I lost my place because I got on my soapbox again. Okay. Is there anything else you would like to say about Jeshua and the crucifixion? Joanna asks, and Ingrid said, the crucifixion now feels completely different. Joanna, and is this a message that we need to give out to the world? And Ingrid says, yes, a moment. And then there was a pause. We saw Jeshua as a very physical person, but he didn't have much physical pain because he was light, a light being. And he does mention, I think it was in one of Dolores Cannon's books, that he didn't suffer the way that people think he did. In many religions, like Catholicism, you're not to do anything on the day of his crucifixion. They call it, oh gosh, why did I just lose the term? You're not supposed to listen to any radio, TV. You're supposed to try to not eat anything, and you're supposed to be mourning his crucifixion. But he says he wasn't up there very long. He did not suffer pain. Now, if he was concepted by the light via a light conception, like we talked about earlier, this makes absolute sense. He wouldn't feel anything. And a lot of people also don't know is that the Romans tried to kill him several times. He saved himself. They threw him off of a cliff in a box at one point, and he saved himself. He could have taken himself right off that cross had he wanted to, but he knew it was part of the plan. He knew it was part of his mission, and it was something that he needed to do in order to complete that part of his mission. Stuart asks, so can we see the crucifixion in a lighter way now? And Ingrid says, yes, because the energy of God couldn't come through. The crucifixion was necessary to open the channels of light, capital L. At the time of the crucifixion, the channels of fear and pain and sadness were dominant. There was this horizontal blockage so that the people could only see in a limited way. Joanna, so at the time of the crucifixion, the people were feeling pain and fear, Ingrid, and the cross was a symbol for that. The horizontal line was a blockage for all the energy of light and healing. Stuart, and the crucifixion broke through this so that the light could come down, Ingrid. If we can bring this new concept to people and remove the image of Jeshua having pain on the cross, then we can release people from the fear and pain and sadness. Joanna, how can we continue to work together? Ingrid, the channel of light they prepared even before Egypt and the temples of Isis and before the crucifixion. If we can feel it, if we can tune into it, then it will be stored in our cells and we will carry this energy wherever we go. Joanna, would it go into the auric field? Ingrid says yes. Everybody has his or her specific geometry, which connects with the light. It's different from person to person. Jeshua often talked about the energies within us corresponding with the stars and the universes. When he spoke, his words made patterns of light. When Jeshua taught, he focused points of light, and there was an energy field that formed around the people who listened to him. It is good to be conscious, to be aware of these light channels, and work with the light beings on the earth. There is a strong connection with the crystals and the dolphins, and yes, I've read about the dolphins. Through them, a new light channel is being opened, and all the times I've used light in this part, it's been with a capital L. And if you're not familiar with the spiritual purpose of a dolphin, you should look it up. They hold so much love and light for us. They really, truly do. Their task is beautiful, almost like angels. They're almost like angels of the sea. And you see videos and you read articles about dolphins that were saved by a person and remember that person, or the person saved them and they seemingly thanked them. Now you do see that with whales and other things like that, but the dolphins hold a certain frequency and energy for us on this planet. It's amazing what their task is. You should look into it if you're interested. This had been a session with a remarkably clear and focused energy. We are most grateful to Ingrid for giving us the opportunity to explore these subtle areas of light work. It is not often that a past life session focuses on such high and subtle energy work, and this made it a particularly significant and memorable session for us. Tuning into the channel of light seems a very positive thing to do, and the ability to store light in our cells and carry this energy wherever we go is an inspiring concept, all with a capital L again. All right, so that completes chapter 21. And that's actually part 6 was one chapter. And in the next video, we're going to start part 7, talking about the new children that are arriving and will be arriving on Earth. So part 7, the new children, chapter 23 is titled The Bigger Picture. So that is to come in our next video. Now let's see how many we have left. So how many parts and how many chapters? We're going to begin chapter 23, part 7. There are 9 chapters in this book. So part 7 has 4 parts. Part 8 has 6 parts. And part 9 only has 1. So we really are getting down to the end of this book. I would say almost about 75% done. Thank you all so much for joining me. I love you all so much, and I will see you in the next video to begin our next leg of this book. Take care until next time, and I love you all so much, and take care of those around you. Bye-bye.